Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality coming back with you today with an article that is almost assuredly going to get one of those wiki notes on it. It says, sea levels defy climate alarmism, new data shows. It's from a Daily Signal dated September 7th. So, it's another one of those climate change things. And if me just saying that didn't mean a wiki note was going to show up, I don't know what will. It's another one of those articles about climate change that will show you that they're wrong. These people are totally wrong about everything, and we kind of knew this already, right? It's just another way of taxing you more to try to control the environment, which we can't really do. So it says, from the Daily Caller News Foundation, one recent study compiling sea level rise data shows oceans are not surging as much as the scientific world previously projected, and corporate media has repeatedly sounded the alarm over. And I'm sorry, I just developed the hiccups for some reason, which is why I kind of sounded funky for a minute there. I'll try to suppress them as much as possible, but if you know why I kind of go silent for a second, well, there you go. The Journal of Marine Science and Engineering published the peer-reviewed study on August 27th, authored by Dutch engineering consultant Hessel G. Voortman, and I wish I had a Dutch accent to pronounce that right, and independent researcher Rob de Vos. The study concluded that the average rate of sea level rise in 2020 was well below other widely cited analyses, and that when projections were compared with local data, there was little evidence climate change was driving the acceleration seen in a few regions. A finding energy policy experts told the Daily Caller News Foundation challenges mainstream climate change orthodoxy. Everything is going to. You're gonna see, if you don't know already, like everything they think is BS. Okay? Pretty much, it's not a thing. Okay, it's all been a lie the whole time. It says, overall, this study indicates that in most places, sea levels are not rising unusually quickly. In the relatively few locations where sea levels are rising faster than average, the cause is almost certainly local factors such as land subsidence or ground compaction. Sterling Burnett, director of the Arthur B. Robinson Center on Climate and Environmental Policy at the Heartland Institute, told the Daily Caller News Foundation. Global sea levels are currently rising more slowly than they have for much of the same since the last ice age ended, a period during which seas rose more than 400 feet. Any possible increase in the recent rate of rise compared with the past century is small, within the margin of error, and not outside historical patterns. It says, though the report doesn't account for sea level rise anywhere, Voortman told journalist Michael Schellenberger on Tuesday that he was surprised no one had compiled such a study before, noting it is the first to compare projections with recorded local data from the past century. So the two data sets the researchers drew from did have some gaps, which meant that the most sections in the world with unusable data were in the Northern Hemisphere, with several of the selected stations spanning North America, Europe, and Japan. Gaps in the data included regions around Australia, the northeast of Latin America, East Asia, and most of Africa. The average rate of sea level rise in 2020 is only around 1.5 millimeters a year, or that's 15 centimeters per century, Voortman said Tuesday. Yeah, we have a lot to worry about there, 15 centimeters per century. Can't do my inches conversion like that right now, but that's small. Says this is significantly lower than the 3 to 4 millimeters a year often reported by climate scientists in scientific literature and the media. The report notes in the data that in the data sets the researchers used, approximately 95% of the suitable locations show no statistically significant acceleration of the rate of sea level rise, and that regions that did see a spike in sea level, likely local non-climatic phenomena, are a plausible cause of the accelerated sea level rise observed at the remaining 5% of the suitable locations. It is crazy that it had not been done. I started doing this research in 2021 by doing the literature review. Who has done the comparison of the projections with the observations? And there were none, Voortman said Tuesday. I'd do a lot of programming and automate data imports and data management. I organized it by using databases so that I really knew what I was doing. It was very structured because I was dealing with 150,000 locations and, on average, 100 years of data. That made 1.5 million lines of data. God damn. I found myself for days working on things that I felt, this is more computer science than civil engineering. So Steve Malloy, a senior fellow at the Energy and Environment Legal Institute, told the Daily Caller News Foundation that there are a lot of additional factors that can affect tide gauge measurements, including geological changes, groundwater withdrawal, and land use. But climate alarmists falsely chalk up all changes to polar ice melting caused by emissions-driven global warming. And haven't they said fairly recently, too, that there's more ice up there in the north than there's ever been, or something to that effect? So it's like literally everything these people think can be disproven. It says a few other studies have been published of late that also challenge climate change hysteria, with one widely reported study showing that Arctic sea ice melting has slowed in the last 20 years. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking then. So this is another recent report found that a 2024 climate change study, heavily cited by legacy media for projecting up to $38 trillion in global damages by 2050, relied on inaccurate data. And that's the end of the article. But yeah, it seems like every single time that some sort of study comes out that, oh my God, we're all going to die. And then it's like a week or two later, it's either the people retract what they said because like they forgot to carry a 2 when they were doing their math wrong, or it's like it's inaccurate data or something. Like basically they just like lied or some stuff. So I don't think this is happening. If you want to call me a climate change denier, fine, go ahead, don't care. When this stuff actually happens, let me know. But it seems like every single thing the climate alarmists rely on is bubkiss. So let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.